In this video, we are going to show you how to replace your tailgate handle. Okay friends, to get started on our job, the first thing you want to do is open up your tailgate. Now once you have that down, we're going to continue on to removing this faceplate coming across the tailgate. To remove this, there's going to be 8 Phillips head screws. Remove all the screws and then the protective plate. We'll give that a quick inspection, set it aside. The next thing we want to do is carefully get inside this hole with some long nose pliers. There's going to be some tabs that hold the molding to the top of the tailgate. Reach inside, find those tabs, give them a little squeeze, and gently start pulling it off. Now at this point, we want to look down inside the center hole. You're going to be looking for 2 T20 Torx head screws. Essentially, the tool you're going to use for this looks like a star. Once you have the first one out of the way, continue on to the other side. That one will be easier to access if you go ahead and tug on that handle. Continue on to each of your 2 10mm headed nuts. Let's grab onto this actuator assembly. Lift it up a little bit here, just off of those studs. Now let's move along from the center over to one side. We're going to look into these rectangular holes. What you're looking for is some squeeze tabs. You'll find 2 close to the top of the tailgate. And then if you were to move towards the bottom, inside this area, you'll find another one. That's going to be on both sides of the center here. So you want to do the same on one side as you do the other. To break these free, I'll use some long nose pliers. Grab onto the ears, you can squeeze those and carefully try pulling down on the plate a little bit. You'll notice it starts to release as you continue. The next thing you have to do to remove the handle from the assembly is to make your way right here to this center bar. On your new handle, this bar can slide right out. It has a clip at the end. On the original, I'll give this a little spin, you'll notice at the far end, it has a beveled end here. That makes it so it can't slide out. So what you're going to have to do is either cut off the tip or cut the rod in the center. Once you have that, you can continue on by removing the rod and the rest of the handle. For this side, when you go to remove it, you'll notice it gets caught on the lock. All you have to do at this point is carefully grab onto the metal bracket and start lifting it up and off of these studs. Once that's off of there, you can shift the handle. Slide that down. Move the rod to where you can easily access it and slide it off. Before you remove it, pay attention to this spring right here. In your kit, you're going to find it came with 2 new springs. You want to make sure that the new spring goes back into the original position. There's our spring. Grab that metal bracket, put this aside because you will be reusing it. Remove the handle from your bezel. There it is, friends. Okay, friends, now it's time to install our brand new tailgate handle. We'll have a look from the back side. You're going to notice that our kit comes with 2 springs. Pay attention to the angle of each of the spring, the way it curls over towards the side, and the lower aspect of the angle as well. That's super important. So when we take this apart, when we put it back together on the rear bezel, each of these springs needs to be in the proper location. So you'll notice down near this area, it's beveled in towards me a little bit. Same. And then of course, pay attention to the hooks. Let's start taking off the rod. When I do this, I'm just going to carefully start pressing it out through to the side that has the larger head. Remove each of the springs, set them aside on their corresponding side. Finish removing that rod. Now we can install the handle into the bezel. Let's take that handle and slide it right inside each of the holes. Turn this over, lay it down. Now it's going to be time to continue on to the bracket and to our brand new rod. Now for this bracket, it's important to make sure that you put it in the proper positioning. You want to have it so you have these ears facing towards the bottom of the bezel and facing downward like this. If you put it in this position, you're going to find that you have issues. Let's take that bracket and start putting it into position on the handle. I'll lift up on the handle a little bit, line up the mounting hole. Now we're going to take our brand new rod. You'll notice one side of it has a big old head on it, and the other side is nice and smooth so you can slide it through. Let's take that smooth side, start it through the bracket, and then through the handle. Now once you have it through there, we're going to continue on to our 2 springs. Let's take that spring and we'll start on the side that has the lock. Now what you want to do is take the ear of the spring and slide it down into your new handle. Slides right in. We're going to take that rod and slide it right on through the center of the spring. As we slide it through, we want to take the far end of the spring and pull it up towards us. When we do this, it's going to try putting a tug on that rod. Keep that in mind. Uncurling it, slide it right on through. Put this back into position. Continue sliding that rod. Now we're going to grab the other spring and do the exact same thing. We'll slide it through the far end into the handle. It's okay if the springs come dislodged during this process. We can reset them after. Just keep on sliding. Let's take that bracket. We'll slide the rod right on through the other side of the bracket. The next thing you want to do is look inside your bag and grab this small U-clip. Take that clip and slide it over the very end of the rod. If it's hard to press on there, go ahead and use some pliers. Now that we have this slid together, let's start sliding the bracket over the 2 studs along the back side. We'll deal with the springs later. Now that we have this slid down over our studs, let's continue on to our 2 Torx bolts. Starting each of these by hand. We'll snug this one. Now pause on the Torx bolt, and we're going to move along to the springs. Go ahead and get those into place. Now at this point, you can pull on your handle and tighten that screw. Okay, so now we have it bolted down on here. Just double check. You want to make sure that each of the springs is seated properly. Assuming those look good, we can continue. Now let's clean up the area where the handle bezel is supposed to go. If there's any adhesive that holds the bezel to the tailgate, you want to make sure you remove that. Clean the area. Now we can get this plate onto our tailgate. Have a look at the back side. You've got all of your push clips that make their way around. After you see all those, make your way to the tailgate itself. You're going to want to pay attention to where all of your mounting holes are. Line it up, press it in. Now it's going to be time to put on the tailgate top molding. Pay attention along the bottom side where all those clips are. Look at the top of the tailgate, find the holes, match them up, lock it in. There we are. Get them lined up. Continue on to your two 10mm headed mounting bolts. Time to reinstall this protective plate. Slide it into position, line up all of our mounting bolt holes. We'll start in each of the mounting bolts before we tighten any of them. Let's start tightening the bolts along the top of the tailgate. Make your way back across along the other area. Once you feel as though you have it fully installed, go ahead and shut that tailgate. Perfect. Okay friends, we got the tailgate back together. Of course, you're going to want to test it a few times. Make sure it latches in perfectly. Aside from that, go ahead and take it for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.